Welcome back to 22 Parents. So glad you joined us. We're 22 Parents. We just want to talk to you guys about our experience with parenthood. And today we're talking about maternity leave, our last part in the series. We're just excited for you guys to be back. We love making YouTube videos. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to be updated as to when we're dropping videos. Thanks for joining us, guys.
We're so happy to have you. I don't know if we've said that.
We are happy. Yeah, we love when our viewers, chime in. Or the other day, I think I was talking to an old boss of mine. He was like, "Hey, watch your videos." I was like, "That's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that."
Yeah, some friends have messaged me about various comments they had, and it's really nice to see that someo's actually watching them. So
it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We see you. We appreciate you.
We're newbies, we're gonna be grateful right now and forever.
We're just not grateful if we take off. No, we will always be grateful.
We'll always be grateful. Anyways, so we last left off talking about kind of going to church and what that was like. Today we want to talk about what do you do with free time when you're home as a parent? Free time. But babies sleep a lot. Newborns sleep a ton, and there are going to be moments when you're just kind of like waiting for them to wake up again. What do you do in that time? What did you do in that time?
What did I do in that time? I think I paid... Who owns Netflix? I paid his salary probably for a week or so.
She definitely did.
Because of how much I watched.
Yeah.
What did I watch? So I first got into Love is Blind. And at that time, I think 3 seasons were out. And I binged all 3 seasons of Love is Blind.
Yep.
And then I hopped to The Circle. And I binged all of The Circle.
You watched that whole show?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing new has come out since I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
What did I watch after The Circle? There was another reality show.
Was it also Netflix's reality show?
I don't remember. Did I get into Shark Tank after that? After that?
Oh, my goodness.
There was a season where I was in Shark Tank obsessively. That might have been
so much.
That might have been at the end of maternity leave, but I think there was one other reality show
I can't remember.
I was hooked on.
But that's the point. Reality TV.
Reality TV became my life source, which is not a good thing.
Oh, not a good thing. But what do you do? I mean, I guess you could have maybe read a book or whatever. But it is you don't think about that. That's the one thing, and it's probably because it's not really a priority when you're going into being a parent and everything. But there are going to be these large swaths of time where you just are sitting there on maternity leave. Don't get me wrong. Once you're back to work, there's no time. Time is gone. Forget about it. But yeah, and I remember my first week. I mean, I was off for 2 weeks. I think a lot of that time I mostly just sat with you and probably watched stuff. Might have played a game here and there. I am a gamer. But yeah, it is really weird. You just don't think about it because it is like the only time where you're not necessarily focused on the baby, and so you're like, what are you supposed to do now? We just like I said, paid Netflix's salary.
It was hard because she slept on me best, obviously, because that's where she was most comfortable. And so I tried to put her down occasionally, but for the most part, I would just be stuck. And I did not hop onto the baby wearing bandwagon well enough in the time that she would have been best for that.
You mean like Bjorns and wraps and
things like
that?
I didn't seem to find a way to make it work. And I don't think it was any of the products. I think it was me. I just didn't have the mindset. I didn't know how. I was overwhelmed, and I think next kid it'll be a lot easier to manage that. But because I wasn't in the baby wearing game nearly as much, I was just stuck holding the child who was sleeping, and I did not want to wake up because she needed to sleep. And because if she was awake, she was frequently upset because she needed a diaper change, or she was gassy, or she was hungry, and in those few hours or few minutes that she would be awake, it was just constant need. So it was nice to get a break, except I'm stuck. And that's where
going nowhere.
I just paid Netflix's salary.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think if you had the wrap we had it. But if you had dove into that more, maybe we would have been a little bit more productive in that time, or maybe just did something different, played board games or whatever. You know what I mean? Because obviously we don't want to just sit around and watch TV all day as much as we love, shows and things like that. So maybe that's something we'll do different next maternity leave. We'll see how that goes.
It was also like, we will never have a maternity leave like that again, because every subsequent kid is going to have siblings. But this was just her.
It's true.
And so I think that in and of itself was also why it was just these huge swaths of time of I don't know what to do. And we will not have that again.
Yeah, that won't happen again. That's true, because there's going to be another kid. Yeah, and I don't, just thinking about our timeline, they won't even be in school yet.
Nope.
So.
Well, maybe, but not full time.
Not full time. Okay, good point. So yeah, I mean, and I don't think there's too much more we can hit on that. I think everyone just finds their own thing to do when they're, people should probably just dive more into their hobbies. But
we took a lot of walks.
We did take a lot of walks. That's a good point. In the place we were staying, there was a nice walking track around the area, and it was ideal. I loved it for my own exercise, but when it came to having a newborn, putting her in a stroller, getting her some sunlight, which is also really, really important, because going back to the whole Billy Rubin thing, sunlight is essential for that, for healing, for that. So yeah,
and just in general, vitamin
and
D.
just in general, yeah, kids need sun to grow. Get your kids outside, people. So yeah, and it was wintertime too, so the sun was going down early. It's like, let's get her out when we can, in her nap, between her naps in the morning.
Yeah.
So that was great. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, walks and reality TV. That was pretty much the gist of our free time. And
learning how to survive was a big one.
Yeah.
It was a new world, and we didn't feel adjusted until maternity leave was over. I think we didn't really find routine until maternity leave was over.
I would agree, because also when you finished maternity leave, it's also kind of around the time, it was about 3 months, right?
Yeah.
When she started having more of a routine.
Yeah.
Because I think she was sleeping a bit less at that time. Because I remember.
And it was easier to predict when she would need sleep, or predict what her behaviors were.
Yeah, she was becoming more predictive.
Yeah.
And so that made it a lot easier for us to develop a routine for her, or really follow her routine that she's giving us.
Honestly.
Because it wasn't that sporadic anymore, which is such a nice thing. If your baby's dependable, in that sense, it's thank you. Because we need that, because that's how we operate. It's not how they operate until, a certain timeline or a certain milestone. So,
sure.
But yeah, and that's pretty much the gist of that, I think. And then eventually, we had to go back to work. And like we said before in our first video in this series, I only had 2 weeks off, and I work from home. So it wasn't too difficult for me, I think, to transition back on the third week. It was just a little annoying because I couldn't just at any moment come down and spend time with you guys. So I would miss some things, or Sarah would text me from downstairs, and I'd be like, you know what I mean? Missed this thing, cute faces and whatnot. That was probably the frustrating thing for me. It wasn't hard for me to get back into it, because, I don't have a commute or anything like that. It was just, it was more so working with, brain energy. Does that make any sense? Because, you're not sleeping much still at that point. So I'm a little woozy, and people are bear with me, guys, because my brain's not running at 100%. It's probably more 76 for the remainder of this time. But that's pretty much all it was for me, I think. Wasn't too terrible of a transition, and I think it'll be even easier next time, because I know what to expect. But what about for you?
Yeah, I would say I'm grateful that I did the slow ramp up. I always try a slow ramp up approach to any big change, if at all possible.
Smart.
It just seems easier. I'm able to manage it better, and so once we figured out what her routine was, we had asked my company if it was okay for me to work from 10 to 2, and because that was a great, like, she would go down for a nap, I think, right around that time.
Yep.
And so I'd leave, and then you would only have to deal with one feed for her.
Just one feed, yeah.
And what was also nice is that I had an easier time, like, in the morning, because I would just have to get ready for work slowly and could still maintain some of her needs, put her down for her nap, and then walk out the door. And so I was grateful that I was able to do midday instead of just morning or just afternoon, because it seemed to work the best for us.
Yep.
And because I did the slow ramp up I was able to... We have a busy season in my workplace around the same time of year each year, and that frequently requires overtime. And this allowed me to still maintain time with my family while I was going through this healing experience and learning how to be a parent during that season. And I was very grateful for that. Yeah. And so I was able to be a part of all the things I needed to be a part of to some degree and catch up on the information that I was missing out on, while still being present and being at home and healing, because that's a huge part of, maternity leave is simply just healing. And so that was really important for me and really helpful. Yeah. And then after 8 weeks of part-time, I went back full-time, and that's a journey in and of itself, which we'll talk about in a whole different series. But
it is different.
It overall it went well. It was hard at first, but I am very privileged to love my job. And so that made that easier. Because even though I missed being at home, it wasn't like I was miserable away from home. I was still happy doing what I loved.
Enjoying yourself in those 40 hours a week. Like, it's a really, and we all know it's a big deal if you love your job or not. It's like a life-changing thing, honestly. It changes your perspective. But going back, it's the FOMO, you want to be around a kid. And I didn't feel that as much because I was there with her.
And it's not just FOMO, these are changes that are happening. True. That are going to affect like how she is and what her personality is like.
This is true, yeah, big changes.
Or just milestones, if she started cooing all of a sudden, I wanted to be there to witness it. And that is always hard as a working parent, mom or dad, single or married. It doesn't matter if you're missing something like that. Even if you're out on a date and a babysitter is the first one to see it, you're kind of bummed, because that's parenthood.
It's just parenthood, yeah. We're not gonna catch everything. We're gonna try our best, but she's her own human as well. So
absolutely.
And even though we're taking care of her, she's going to be, she's going to continue to develop into her own person. So it's going to be something that we're going to be grappling with for the next 18 years, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think that's everything. We've talked about maternity leave. We've talked about getting home and our free time and meals and sleep and everything that goes along with that. So thanks for joining us, guys. We really, really appreciate it. That's all for today. It's all for this topic. So
I think that's everything in maternity leave. Just about. There are a couple of things that we'll probably hit when they are more relevant to other topics. But it was a wild ride, but I've seen a lot of things comparing your 20s to playing a video game without instructions. I feel as though that's maternity leave. More so than your 20s even. It's just you're learning how this thing functions for 3 months. And then suddenly one day you get it. And then you're like...
There's a switch, I would say. Yeah. The light turns on.
And though not every day will be perfect and things do adjust and change, it's still different. You still know at least the bare minimum. And once you hit that point, it's like smooth sailing. Yeah. So, maternity leave until that point is it's a wild ride. But you know what? It's fun and it shapes us. And, we've grown so much from this last experience, and we have so many things that we're going to carry into or learn from and take into the next experience. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited. And we're excited to tell you guys about it.
We are.
Once again, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the next video. And leave a comment. Let us know. If you had any more questions you wanted us to dive into, leave a comment. Let us know. That's all for today, guys. Enjoy your days, and thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.